The first focus you need to have when you start out as a business, when you start out as a freelancer, when you start out in general, is as simple as it sounds: get clients. When I would start over, I would just start talking to clients. Just do the work that people don't want to do. Ramosi has this rule, the rule of 100. Do 100 outreaches. Like on LinkedIn, you can just do 100 outreaches a week. While doing that, you can set up a cold email system. So you do have cold email systems as well running. That will happen automatically. Focus on outreach, focus on getting the money in. Just do the work. And most often, we need to be honest to ourselves with where we are standing. I've been traveling as a nomad entrepreneur for the past year. I've done remote sales in the past year. I've earned money as a copywriter, and I was trying to build my own AI agency, my own company there. And I made tons and tons and tons of mistakes from beginning to now that are easy to avoid actually. So in this video, in this little podcast, I want to dive into all the mistakes that I made and how I would do it differently right now if I had to start over again. And actually, I am gonna start over a bit again with a new business partner, a new model, well, an extra business partner, and there's gonna be some changes around for me. And in the meantime, I'm gonna double down a little bit on copywriting to make a bit of an extra buck. Yeah, grow from there on. But what I am gonna do differently, and one of the mistakes that I made that I would recommend you need to sit good for the lighting, that I would recommend you to avoid is, first of all, the first focus you need to have when you start out as a business, when you start out as a freelancer, when you start out in general, is as simple as it sounds: get clients. Get clients. Focus on content. I've talked to many entrepreneurs right now through my travels and through the podcasts, and I have a lot of entrepreneurs in my network now as well. And the lifeblood of every single business is sales and marketing. And to do that to give you a structured framework for that is what I did wrong in my first business, I would say, is we started building stuff. We just started building stuff, and then later we came to realize that there was no product market fit. And then we spent like half year on building stuff, and then it was half year wasted. We learned about building stuff, but if we just reached out to clients and just came in contact with them, we would have started building stuff for them. So then we started building stuff for the market instead of just building stuff for the sake of building. So that's something I would do differently right now, is just first focus on getting clients, then focus on, based on the feedback of the clients that you get, on optimizing the offer and on optimizing the marketing and the tone of voice and everything. Because only through raw experience and raw conversations with the clients that you have, you will optimize the best, because in that way you optimize through their language. And that's one of the key marketing principles, to speak the language of your own clients. And if you optimize through their language, you speak their language. And if you speak their language, they will come to you. So that's a mistake I made, and that's something I will not do again. And then it's start out with the funnel and make it imperfect. What I mean with that is we have the tendency to make things perfect. Your first business is probably gonna fail, and your first free giveaway is probably gonna suck, and your first ebook is probably not that good. But just make it and try to sell it, or sell it. And with selling, I do not mean sell it for money, but like as a free giveaway. So top of funnel stuff. When you have a funnel, you have like different stages. You have like top of funnel where they don't know you and they still get to know you, and then you need, like Daniel Priestley calls it knowledge objects, or something like that. So they get to know you, and that's through content, that's through ebooks, that's through LinkedIn posts, X posts, Instagram, whatever your marketing channel is. But fill that up, because especially right now with AI, there is a lot of distrust in the market. No matter what you do, there is just a lot of distrust. So people need to consume a lot of stuff from you. That's why webinars, funnels work. And a webinar funnel is you RSVP, so you say you're going to come, then you get a couple of emails, and then you show up to the webinar, and then from the webinar, they get value out of it. You pitch them to an offer, and they either book an extra sales call with you to close them, or they buy directly from the webinar if they trust you enough and your webinar was good enough. When I would start over, I would just start talking to clients. Just do the work that people don't want to do. Ramosi has this rule, the rule of 100. Do 100 outreaches. And like on LinkedIn, you can just do 100 outreaches a week. And while doing that, you can set up a cold email system. So you do have cold email systems as well running, and that will happen automatically. You can use instantly N8N and Clay or another something else. That's like how you can make a cold email system and let that run to get clients. And then based on that cold email system and based on the outreach that you do, you have like two inflows. So you have two traffic sources, and then you optimize those traffic sources. Then later, when you have more budget, you can go into paid ads. And while doing all of that, you can create content. And a good friend of mine tells me document, don't create. What he means with that is document the journey on how you build things to show your expertise. Because the best companies, they sell what they do. And a good example for that is Alex Ramosi. He has 3 books: $100 million offers, $100 million leads, and $100 million money models. With the offers book, it was an offer that feels stupid. Like, if you have the $100 million offers book and you buy it, you can buy it for like 2-3 euros, I think, on Amazon, like the ebook. So it's a really good offer. So it's a offers book that is a good offer. The book on itself is an example. And then with the leads book, he used all the tactics out of the book to get leads for his webinar, well, where he sold the book. So then he did content, he did outreach, he did ads, and he did affiliate, like one-to-one or one-to-many. So he had one-to-one, one-to-many. And in that way, he got people to his webinar to sell the leads book. And with money models, it's about creating a model to generate more income. And he generated over $100 million with that book launch. Actually broke a world record with that. That's insane. But why? Because the book was about packaging things and having a consistent flow of offers to give to your future customers and clients to let them buy more consistently. And in that way, he was able to generate $100 million from one book launch. That's insane. So, what I'm trying to say here is when you start a company, first focus on that. Focus on building a funnel, focus on talking to clients, and then just figure it out. Like, try stuff. Ask for feedback. And when you're starting out or when you're doing things, we have the tendency to immediately ask for money. Start for free. Get a couple of case studies to leverage those case studies, or start for really cheap. What also really helps is if you just say, hey, can we do this for free for you? And in the end, when it's all done and delivered, you pay us for what you think it's worth. And maybe they pay you like 50 euros, but maybe some people are generous and they pay you like 100 euros or 200 or 500. And in that way, you build trust. You build trust by the work that you do. So, first of all, do outreach. Second of all, start free and get case studies. And then keep on building. And then something else that I would focus on if I would do everything over again, I would focus on systems. And what I mean with that is not optimizing for nothing. No, I would literally, I got this out of a podcast that I recorded with someone as well. And he said I was able to scale to 100K a month because of systems. And with a system, it's like this: every piece in the cycle of delivery is a step into the system to get to a certain outcome. So you have a network of people, tools, and knowledge that brings it all together to get a certain outcome. For example, the system of a marketing agency is to, first of all, get clients. So you have a lead source That's with the things we just talked about: outreach, content, ads. Then from that lead source, you warm them up in your funnel. And that's maybe an email funnel, maybe some webinars, maybe some content, maybe some freebies. And then you have the salesperson or someone they talk to figure out their needs and close the deal. That's a person in the system of your agency. Then you have the onboarding of the client that just got closed. What's their target audience? You need to gather some data to set up a good funnel. Then that goes to your copywriters. Then your copywriters type out the whole funnel. Then that goes to designers. So from the copywriters, it goes to the designers, and the copywriters also work on the copy of the landing pages, and then that also goes to the designers. Then the designer make ad creatives, and those ad creatives will go to the media buyer, and the media buyer will put it online, and then the media buyer will gather data on how everything performs, and then based on the performance and the data that you get, it will be optimized. So that's basically the system of a marketing agency, and every component and every small piece in that system needs to have its place. And you can work with workflows, so automate onboardings, to gather data, to do lead scraping, to do outreach. So you can automate a lot, but it's also having SOPs and KPIs. And SOPs are the seizure operations something or just in simple terms, SOPs are the direct guidelines that people need to follow to do a certain job, and KPIs are key performance indicators. So those are the targets those people have and that they need to hit to make sure they do their job. And then based on the systems in the operations that you build in the system of your business, so the system of your business has the system of operations to connect everything, and that has SOPs to managing the people and the KPIs to see if the people follow their SOPs and do a good job. And that way, your business is the system that produces an outcome, and the outcome is the thing that your client buys. So I would systemize more and I would think more in systems when I start over again. Also, I would have clear KPIs, clear communication, but I think those two speak for themselves. And when it comes to traveling, because like I traveled the world in the past year, which was awesome, I kind of do that, but still I traveled around quite a bit, but I would focus on getting out of your current situation. So for me that was getting out of the Netherlands. Right now where I'm recording this in Lisbon. So first I would get out of the Netherlands, get out of America, get out of the country, get out of the state that you're in, and move surroundings. For me, the best surroundings are Lisbon and Bali, personally, when it comes to the people I meet and the opportunities that are there. And then stay there for a longer period of time. When you stay for a longer period of time in one place, it allows you to focus more and build more, but also build a circle of the right people around you. And especially in Bali, but also in Lisbon, I have as well. But in Bali, it's really easy to network when you go to a co-working, when you go to certain events, when you go to talks. And in Lisbon, it's also really easy to network, but it's more of a structured network, as in there are meetups and it's less spontaneous. But you can also go to a co-working here. There are a couple of really good ones as well. But I think it's just your preference, whatever you like. What I do really like about Lisbon is the quality of, as stupid as it sounds, supermarkets. You have really good supermarkets. And if you have a place where you can cook, it's amazing to have a place that has good supermarkets. So I think if I would start over again, I would focus on outreach, and from outreach, focus on systems to get everything done. Focus on getting feedback. I would start maybe for free or for a low price to get some case studies in. And based on that, I would just scale through leveraging everything that I did, that I just said. And that is actually how I'm going to do it right now. Focus on outreach, focus on getting money in, and just do the work. And most often, we need to be honest to ourselves with where we are standing. So I was talking with a friend of mine who has a really good thing going on for himself as a freelancer. Like he's quite full, he makes a good amount of money, and then I asked him, "What are your next steps at the moment?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm working on this partnership, and maybe I'm gonna do this and this and that." And I said, "Like, why would you work on this partnership? Because you're already fully booked. Who is gonna do that?" Then maybe first start focusing on getting some people to do your job that you can train to get yourself out of the operations or the day to days, to then focus on new business. So, first, it's being an over exaggerated freelancer through getting as much business as possible and making an income. And then it's about removing yourself from the business through operating through a system or a team that you can get into, and then from that team generate more new business and see how you can scale that concept and how you can step by step train people to do the right things. And that's why the SOPs are so important when it comes to building your business. That's it. So that's what I a lot of the mistakes that I made in the past half a year. When it comes to my business, I did focus too much on building stuff instead of having a product market fit, and I did not focus enough on getting new clients. Well, the systems were not in place and the focus was not there. And a good thing to call yourself on is your own BS, as in, what are you busy with? What are you doing in your day to day? Because I hate doing outreach. Honestly, I hate it. But it needs to happen. It needs to happen to get new business. And especially in the start, like you just need to do it. You just need to do the work. And then when you actually do a good job, people will come back to you. But your first client probably resign really quick because you're not as good as you think you are in the beginning. So that's it. And then it's just don't give up and keep on going. Well, this was my little podcast of what I would do differently, how businesses are built, and how you can start yourself as well. And look at places like Upwork or Fiverr to get your first business in as a freelancer, and then just start, just do it. Don't talk about it, just do it. Do it and build your brand and go for it. All right. That's it. Like, subscribe, do a little rain dance. There's lots of cool content coming. And if you have certain questions or if you have certain things that you want to know, just drop them in the comments. And yeah, keep in touch. Ciao.